Have you ever walked under a ladder and felt a shiver down your spine? Or avoided breaking a mirror for fear of bad luck? Maybe you've tossed salt over your shoulder or knocked on wood just in case? You're not alone. Superstitions have been with us for thousands of years. Despite all the progress in science, medicine, and technology, we still find ourselves clinging to rituals and beliefs that defy logic. Why? What gives these ideas such staying power? You might be surprised to learn that some of the superstitions we consider commonplace today have roots in ancient rituals and beliefs. In this video, we'll explore the cultural significance of these practices and how they've evolved over time, revealing the enduring power of superstition, even in our modern age. Growing up, I always avoided stepping on cracks in the sidewalk, convinced it would bring bad luck. But where did that idea come from? Join me on a journey to discover the history of superstitions from around the world and learn how these beliefs have impacted our cultures and our lives. Superstitions are beliefs or practices resulting from a fear of the unknown or belief in supernatural influences. They often arise from attempts to explain events that seem beyond human understanding. And though they're not based on scientific evidence, they persist in cultures all over the world. Superstitions are as old as humanity itself. They've been traced back to some of the earliest known civilizations: Egyptians, Greeks, Mesopotamians, and Romans. These societies often believed that spiritual or magical forces controlled much of what happened in the world. They aren't just myths or old wives' tales. They are deeply connected to our fears, hopes, and the need to make sense of life's randomness. Take ancient Egypt, for instance. Egyptians believed that scarab beetles were sacred and symbolized protection and rebirth. These beetles weren't just lucky charms. They were thought to ward off evil and ensure safe passage to the afterlife. Even the number 7 had powerful symbolism. It represented perfection and completeness in Egyptian mythology. In ancient Greece, oracles and omens were central to life. People believed in signs from the gods, interpreting the flight of birds, the shape of clouds, or even the way a fire burned as messages from the divine. And then there's Rome, where nearly everything could be a sign. Romans were incredibly superstitious. They consulted augurs before making political decisions, avoided marrying during unlucky times of the year, and carried amulets to ward off bad spirits. Superstitions helped these societies understand events they couldn't explain: illnesses, natural disasters, or sudden deaths. They filled the gaps where science had no answers. Superstitions are not limited to one culture or region. Every society has developed its own unique set of beliefs. In the West, the number 13 is widely seen as unlucky. This fear is called triskaidekaphobia, and it has roots in Christian tradition. Judas, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, was the 13th guest at the Last Supper. Ever since, the number has been associated with betrayal and misfortune. That's why many buildings skip the 13th floor. You'll go from floor 12 to 14 in the elevator, but the fear is still there, hidden in plain sight. In contrast, many Asian cultures view the number 4 as unlucky. In Chinese, the word for 4 sounds very similar to the word for death. As a result, buildings in China and Japan may skip the 4th floor entirely, and people often avoid the number in addresses or phone numbers. Then there are mirrors. In many Western cultures, breaking a mirror is thought to bring 7 years of bad luck. This belief goes back to the Romans, who believed that mirrors didn't just reflect your image, they reflected your soul. But not all cultures see broken mirrors as bad luck. In some parts of India, breaking a mirror is actually seen as a sign of clearing negative energy. The same object. Two opposite beliefs. It all depends on culture. Consider black cats. In the West, they're often seen as omens of bad luck, especially if one crosses your path. But in Scotland and Japan, black cats are considered lucky. In Japan, they're even symbols of prosperity and protection. What about knocking on wood? This superstition dates back to ancient pagan traditions in Europe, where trees were believed to house spirits. Knocking on wood was a way to summon protection from these spirits or to avoid tempting fate after speaking positively about something. Throwing salt over your shoulder? That comes from the belief that evil spirits dwell over your left shoulder. By tossing salt, a pure and valuable substance, you're blinding the demon behind you and preventing misfortune. Even wedding traditions have superstitious roots. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, was originally believed to ward off the evil eye and bring fertility. These practices seem small or silly on the surface, but they're deeply rooted in our cultural memory. We live in a time of extraordinary technological and scientific advancement, yet superstitions still linger in everyday life. Athletes stick to pre-game rituals. Students wear their lucky shirts during exams. Travelers avoid flying on Friday the 13th. Why? Superstitions offer a sense of control. When we face uncertainty, whether it's a job interview, a test, or a global pandemic, rituals help us feel grounded. They give us something to hold on to. There's also a social side. Superstitions connect us to our families and communities. They're shared experiences passed down through generations. Even if we know deep down that they aren't logical, we do them anyway, because they make us feel better. Our brains are designed to detect patterns. That's how we survived in the wild, by noticing that certain actions led to certain outcomes. But sometimes we see patterns where none exist. This tendency is called apophenia. It's the same instinct that makes us see shapes in clouds or believe in lucky socks. Another factor is confirmation bias. We remember the one time our lucky charm seemed to work and forget the other 10 times it didn't. There's also the illusion of control. We often overestimate our ability to influence outcomes. Superstitions make us feel like we're doing something, even if that something is purely symbolic. When life feels unpredictable, even the smallest ritual can offer emotional comfort. It gives us hope, and sometimes that hope is powerful enough to change how we act and how we feel. Superstitions aren't just personal habits, they're cultural artifacts. They reveal what we fear, what we value, and how we see the world. They're passed down like stories, linking generations across time. They preserve history and express identity. In many ways, they are part of our collective DNA, reminders of a shared human past that spans continents and centuries. And while some superstitions fade, others evolve. New ones emerge. Even in the digital age, people develop new rituals and beliefs. Some gamers believe in lucky usernames. Some people avoid tweeting at certain times for fear of jinxing their posts. Culture adapts and superstition adapts with it. Superstitions may not be grounded in science, but they're grounded in something very real: emotion, tradition, and the human need for meaning. They are part of what makes us human. They offer comfort, connection, and a sense of control in an unpredictable world. By studying superstitions, we gain insight into psychology, culture, and history. We see how beliefs are born, how they spread, and why they endure. So the next time you knock on wood, avoid walking under a ladder, or make a wish at 11:11, remember, you're not just acting out an old habit, you're participating in a global, timeless tradition. Superstitions may seem irrational, but in the grand story of humanity, they remind us of something important, that we're not just logical beings. We are emotional, imaginative, and deeply connected to the stories we tell. And maybe, just maybe, that's a kind of magic all its own. Thanks for watching, and just to be safe, go ahead and knock on wood. No more. Be more.